They found a way that you don't need to have a separate huge map you pull up every 5 seconds to get to your location. You don't need even a compass, and you certainly don't need a mini-map. I don't know about you guys. I have trouble focusing unless there's like a candle or some sort of fire around me. I don't know what it is. Maybe the chaos brings out order in my mind, or maybe I just like candles. I don't know. Either way, it's a weird thing and it makes me relaxed and able to think clearly. So we're doing it. That's what this is now. So Sucker Punch Studios' next game is one called Ghost of Tsushima, which I'm sure you are aware of, otherwise you likely wouldn't have clicked on this video. They were founded in 1997, and in 2011 they were acquired by Sony Interactive Entertainment as one of their first-party studios. Now, since that happened, they've only had one major release, and that was infamous Second Son, a game that a lot of people hold very dearly. Now, Sucker Punch is not what I would call a huge player in the gaming space. It's not up there with Naughty Dog or with Rockstar. It's just not one of those massive studios that is world-renowned and always is putting out 10 out of 10 games. However, they do have a very good track record. Regardless of what you may have personally felt about infamous Second Son, a lot of people revere that game. They love it. It's beautiful. It's well animated. The particle effects are insane. The gameplay is solid. Across the board, it's pretty damn impressive. Sure, there's a lot of structuring issues, narrative issues, blah-de-blue, blah blah. Maybe we'll do a critique of it someday. I don't know, let me know your thoughts on that in the comment section below. The point is, this is a studio that's able to put out some pretty impressive games, and Ghost of Tsushima has totally captivated the gaming industry, unlike any new franchise I've seen in quite a while, actually. I mean, it's even at the point now where people are saying that Ghost of Tsushima could save this summer in terms of games, or be the tip of the iceberg as far as what this fall has to offer, because they're so excited for Ghost of Tsushima, they see it as the first domino in a long line of fantastic games that are going to be dropping for the next gen of consoles that are unannounced even as of right now. Now, full disclosure, I am not somebody who's obsessed with Japanese stuff, I guess you'd call it. I don't know how to phrase it. Like, I'm not a weeb. Is that how people say that nowadays?
Pretty neat, huh?
What I mean is that having a game set in Japan isn't a plus or a minus for me. It's not a positive or negative, a pro or a con. It's just a setting. It's a thing. But I don't get excited purely because there's a game that's themed around samurais. It just doesn't do it for me. But what does do it for me, take note ladies, is when a game studio is able to come up with very, very interesting, unique, and original ideas specifically centered around world exploration. Now, that really is easier said than done. A lot of studios have tried to make open world games that are engaging, interesting, alive, and immersive. Very few companies, in my opinion, have done it well enough that you can truly become immersed in the world. And one of the reasons I think so many games struggle with this is because they become overburdened with aggressive and busy UI. Seriously, I cannot stand when there's a huge mini-map on screen. It's one of the few huge problems I have with The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt. If you look at the gameplay sequences from that game, unless you went into the settings and manually turned off mini-map, set everything to minimalistic or completely absent, it's just there. It's in the way. And I think mini-maps are one of the worst things you can have within an open world as far as exploration is concerned. For example, look at Skyrim. Skyrim is a game that I think everybody can agree is very well built, especially as far as the open world is concerned. Getting lost in Skyrim is something to which most of us can relate. And part of the reason they were able to do that is with a very simple change that they made and had been using since Oblivion, Morrowind, etc. That thing is a compass. It seems simple. Having a compass at the top of the screen as opposed to using a mini map where you can see basically a top-down view of the map leading you to your next location, that seems like a pretty simple or an important change or feature to have, but good lord, having a compass versus a mini-map helps tons. I mean, think about it. If you're exploring an open world, if you know that you need to go from point A to point B is some way in that direction. If you have a mini map that's guiding you around the city or up and down stairwells, around corners, whatever it may be, such as in The Witcher 3, that gets your eyes diverted up to the mini map to figure out where you're supposed to go. It's something that's subconscious because that is the crutch upon which you can lean to find your location. If there's a compass, you can glance at the compass or even keep it in your peripheral vision, but you're still going to be looking at the game world, exploring it yourself. I feel so strongly about this that I think even if you were to completely get rid of the minimap in your game to the point where you had to in-game pull out a map, open it up and look for your location, that would be better than having a minimap on screen. It would be more immersive. It would allow you to look through the world as a living, breathing place that you can actually navigate yourself, as opposed to a place where there's this magical compass that can lead you anywhere you want to go without you having to try. And that leads me to Sucker Punch's really innovative, creative, and interesting way that they solved this navigational problem. They found a way that you don't need to have a separate huge map you pull up every 5 seconds to get to your location. You don't need even a compass, and you certainly don't need a mini map. It's something super impressive and creative, and it's the wind. I know, crazy idea, right? Having wind in a video game. How could that possibly be revolutionary? Well, it is, trust me, and I'm going to explain why in just a second. But first, I want to thank the sponsor, without whom NitGrit would not exist. These videos literally would not be happening if it weren't for them, and that is The Ridge. The Ridge makes high-quality, minimalistic wallets and accessories that have a build quality unlike anything I have personally ever seen before. Their wallets hold 1 to 12 cards without even stretching out. They're RFID protected. They're backed by a lifetime warranty. They have free returns, and you can get them in all sorts of different styles and colors, whether it's titanium or even carbon fiber, such as my daily driver right here. So whether it's for yourself or somebody that you care deeply about, such as your father, since Father's Day is coming up, I think Ridge is worth checking out. I'm certainly loving mine, and I, as you guys know, never recommend something unless I use it every single day in my personal life. If you want to check them out, head over to ridge.com/Luke, and at checkout, make sure to put in promo code Luke to make sure that you get that 10% off your entire order discount. Again, they offer all sorts of stuff, whether it's the wallets, battery packs, backpacks, duffel bags, everything. It's all phenomenally well built. I recommend it fully. In fact, my duffel bag and backpack that I take to school and I take on trips when I travel, it's all Ridge because their stuff is so well built. It's the only thing I trust to carry my things. Again, check them out. ridge.com/Luke, promo code Luke at checkout. So the wind, how does that help? What does that do? Well, it's actually pretty interesting. You see, a recent interview given to PlayStation.blog explains pretty clearly how they came up with this mechanic and how it works. The question was, at what point did you guys come up with the wind as a guiding mechanic? It's really unique and gorgeous, but I'm sure it didn't come easily. And Jason Cannell from Sucker Punch said, quote, "Fortunately for us, one of the earliest art direction goals was to incorporate wind and a sense of movement in everything possible. It both had historical connections as well as film reference overlap. A couple of years into production, the game started to look stunning, and we wanted to create a way to keep people in the world. Since we had achieved those early art goals and the wind was visually striking, we decided to see if it could actually point you to a new location, and it totally worked. We've refined it a bunch since then and expanded on it as an exploration tool to not only bring you to your next tracked location or objective, but also to help you find hidden collectibles if desired." And this is something I personally love to hear because it seems as though from the very earliest stages of development, this team was aiming to have a world within which you could completely lose yourself. And if you're able to direct players to their objectives or to hidden treasures, whatever it may be, using something as subtle as the wind, what it's going to do is drive the player into a state wherein they are completely and utterly connected to the world itself. Now, don't get me wrong, Sucker Punch is not the first and only studio to do something such as this, where the world is what's guiding you through most of your travels. In the case of something like Red Dead Redemption 2, the world does have a lot to offer. There were random encounters all over the place, whether it was a broken out prisoner that was trying to convince you to shoot off his shackles, or it was an incestuous couple that just wanted to have dinner with you. Whatever it may be, there were reasons to explore the world, look around, and pursue things that seemed out of the ordinary. And to me, it's amazing that this is such a rare thing in game development, because a lot of games just throw a collectathon map at you where there's a bunch of question marks on the screen and there's just places that you're expected to run to, find the point of interest, do the thing, and then move on to the next point of interest. It kind of assumes that the player is stupid or is incapable of finding those things themselves, whereas if the world is properly built, the player is going to be guided to those places simply by way of the world building, or they're going to want to explore it, such as in Zelda Breath of the Wild, where people were exploring it, I myself included, purely because the world was so engaging, interesting, and fantastically well structured. As you rounded a corner, there was always some new visual element to draw your attention and pull you in. And in Ghost of Tsushima, it seems as though they're taking the same steps. Now, of course, all of this is just pure conjecture until we get our hands on the game. We know how the world is built and how it functions. It's really easy to look at a trailer, which was very carefully arranged and organized, cut, and displayed, I'm sure. It's really easy to look at that and assume that everything is fantastically well built and structured. It's not always the case, as we see in a lot of games where the trailers look great, and then you get your hands on the game and it's a little underwhelming.
All of this just works. It's not, I'm not kidding.
And I think this is why I've actually started to get excited for Ghost of Tsushima to begin with. Prior to this news and all of these interviews, I'll be honest, I really wasn't that interested. It just seemed like another open world game, but set in Japan. Like it just really didn't connect with me. I wasn't interested. But hearing the lengths to which they're going to make sure that the player is capable and able to get completely and utterly immersed, I'm intrigued, and that's a world that I want to explore. Again, the world doesn't have to be amazing or in a particular genre that I find interesting or intriguing. If the world is living, breathing, and is well structured, that's something that's enjoyable to explore in and of itself, for itself, inherently. Even if it's set in Japan, in a setting that I don't personally get super hyped about compared to something like ancient Egypt, I'm still willing to explore it. And if it's well done, I'm excited to explore it. And everything I'm seeing from the developers hints at the idea that this could actually be a very well-built game. I mean, you would probably hope they've been working on this thing for like 6 years, so you would hope that it turns out decent, but I'm excited. I think it looks pretty good. But let me know if you're excited for Ghost of Tsushima. I really want to know. And let me know if you're able to pronounce it without feeling weird, because every time I say Tsushima, I always feel kind of weird. It's a T. It's a TS. It's a Tsushimi. It's weird to me. It's weird. I know that was probably just about the most American thing I could possibly say, but it is what it is. So again, let me know all of your thoughts in the comments section below, or tweet me at LukeStevensTV, or over on Instagram, also at LukeStevensTV. I'm on there all the time, and I'll try to respond. I really will. But that's all for me. Thank you for watching. I love you all. Peace out. Hugs and kisses. Bye-bye.